Leavitt explained President Trump's threat to use the Insurrection Act.
The Insurrection Act is a tool at the president's disposal. As you know, it has been used sparingly, but it has been used by previous presidents in American history. And I think the president's Truth Social post spoke very loud and clear to Democrats across this country, elected officials who are using their platforms to encourage violence against federal law enforcement officers, who are encouraging left-wing agitators to unlawfully obstruct legitimate law enforcement operations. And if you talk to any law enforcement officer, no matter what level they work at, they want to be working with their counterparts, whether that's at the federal level or the federal authorities wanting to work with their counterparts at the state and local level.
The White House criticized Democratic governors and mayors for being unwilling to work with federal law enforcement. Leavitt added that the Trump administration's goal is to remove criminal illegal immigrants off the streets. She urged Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to stop inciting the harassment and obstruction of law enforcement and cooperate with the president. And tensions escalate in Minneapolis following a violent nighttime confrontation between an ICE agent and an illegal immigrant in Minneapolis. Homeland Security says the man ambushed the agent, and the agent in turn shot him in the leg. Here's what we know.
An ICE agent is in the hospital after the Department of Homeland Security said he was ambushed by an illegal immigrant in Minneapolis. According to DHS, agents were conducting a traffic stop when the man, a Venezuelan national, fled the scene in his vehicle and crashed into a parked car. He then took off running. An officer caught up with the man when DHS says he and two other people began attacking the officer, using a shovel and a broom handle. In a statement on X, DHS said, fearing for his life and safety as he was being ambushed by three individuals, the officer fired a defensive shot to defend his life. Officials say that a bullet struck the man in the leg, and both he and the ICE officer were hospitalized. DHS says the two other assailants scrambled back into an apartment, but are now in custody. In a late-night news conference Wednesday, Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara confirmed the shooting. He also said crowds had gathered near the scene and were attacking police officers.
The crowd is engaging in unlawful acts. They have thrown fireworks at police officers, and at multiple times, gas has been deployed. This is already a very tense situation, and we do not need this to escalate any further.
O'Hara also confirmed no one else was shot. At the same news conference, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey urged protesters to stay nonviolent. He blamed the Trump administration for escalating the situation by surging ICE into Minneapolis.
For those that have peacefully protested, I applaud you. For those that are taking the bait, you are not helping, and you are not helping the undocumented immigrants in our city.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz echoed the same sentiment, and he said ICE's actions are no longer about immigration enforcement, but in his words, a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota. In a post on X, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche defended federal agents, saying ICE operates in thousands of communities without incident, with men and women carrying out their duties to protect the public from criminal aliens, and he blamed the violence on rhetoric from Minnesota officials. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons told Fox News this week that Minnesota's sanctuary policies are what's driving the surge in federal agents. DHS, meanwhile, has been touting what it's calling Operation Metro Surge as a success. In a press release yesterday, the department said it had arrested the worst of the worst criminal illegal immigrants from Minnesota neighborhoods, including violent assailants, domestic abusers, and drug traffickers. It said it did so despite a lack of cooperation from Minnesota officials. According to DHS, Governor Walz and Mayor Frey have been responsible for releasing nearly 470 criminal illegal immigrants onto Minnesota streets in less than a year. It called on the two leaders Wednesday to honor ICE arrest detainers of more than 1,300 immigrants in the state's custody.
The Trump administration has until Monday to respond to Minnesota's request for a temporary injunction of ICE activity. A U.S. district judge says she will not block ICE action in the state for now. Minnesota and the Twin Cities are suing the Trump administration. They argue the federal government is usurping constitutional state powers. They also allege ICE agents are using excessive force. Judge Catherine Menendez says not imposing a preliminary injunction isn't a prejudgment. The defense didn't immediately respond to the injunction request. The Trump administration says ICE is making cities safer. President Trump praised the judge's ruling in a Truth Social post today, saying, "The great patriots of law enforcement will continue to make our country safe." And to discuss developments relating to Minnesota and tensions with federal law